Greetings, everyone, and welcome to First Thoughts on a Friday. My very first thought is, man, it is awesome outside. You better get out there right away because it's cool, it's breezy. I don't see a cloud in the sky anywhere. Oh, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. And I'm wondering, what was it like when Jesus stepped off that boat onto the other side of the lake? Now, he had come back and forth across the lake, right? He's back in Jewish territory now. And as he steps off the boat, everybody's just crowding around him. And I wonder if it was just a beautiful day just like this. And everybody really wanted part of the action. And it's just so exciting. But there's stuff going on that is not so great. What is going on? Well, we're in the 5th chapter of Mark for this coming Sunday. It's one of those really cool things that Mark does. He likes to sandwich stories. Yeah, he'll start a story, then he goes, oh, by the way, this was happening too, blah, 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 and then he'll finish up the other story. And he's putting two healing stories right together that both involve women. One, an older woman who should have been having kids by now, and a younger girl who's only 12 years old. Wait a minute, she's 12 years old. Yeah, and this other woman, she's been suffering for 12 years from a bleeding disorder. It doesn't really say what exactly caused this or why she had it, and that's not important. What's important is she has it, and what that does, that makes her kind of exempt from being part of the in crowd. Yeah. You say, why? Why would that be? Well, because back then, when you had bleeding disorders like that, and you were a woman, that made you impure. It didn't make you sinful, although some people might look at it as, okay, you're being punished by God for something. But no. That's not really what's going on here. But it did make her impure ritually. And it would also make anyone who touched her impure ritually. Even though they didn't reach out and touch her, her touching them would make them impure. So everybody in the crowd that she touched, including Jesus, was impure. Think about that. And then Jesus is on his way to see a young girl who's sick. And by him also reaching out and touching that young girl to try to effect a healing, which is what the young girl's dad wanted, and he was a leader of the synagogue. Yeah, he knew the rules. He knew that he was putting Jesus in harm's way, so to speak, making Jesus ritually impure, so that if he had any thoughts about going to the temple or going to the synagogue, it would be off limits until he did the things to make him ritually pure once again. It's all craziness all around. But the focus is on these two women. And that's what I love about it. The woman who had the audacity to reach out and grab for Jesus, grab his cloak, just touch it, because she felt that all was lost. What did she have to lose now? Really, her life was over. It's been over for 12 years. Yeah, truly, it's been over for 12 years. She's an outsider, and in desperation and maybe extreme hope, she reaches out. And here's the thing. Jesus didn't even know it was her that touched him. All he knew was, hey, something just happened to me. Isn't that a fascinating thing? Jesus didn't reach out and put his hand on her and say, you're healed. No. But he did stop. He did ask the question, who was it that touched me? And it's only after he asked her to say, hey, what's going on? Why'd you do that? Well, then he said, your faith has healed you. Yeah, it's her faith that healed her. It wasn't Jesus reaching out and touching her. It was her reaching out to touch Jesus. Isn't that fascinating? Now, that's the sandwich to the story. That's the goodies on the inside. The real story is what's happening with the two pieces of bread on either end. It already started Jesus agreeing to go with Jairus to see his daughter. Jairus, the leader of the synagogue, who had the 12-year-old daughter who's ill and really in bad shape. I mean, Jairus had pleaded with Jesus to come. Interesting. Jairus, who really kind of, he's the religious elite of the day. Yeah, he represents all the big shots who are there running the synagogues, running the shows, so to speak, making sure everything's in good order. He's reaching out to Jesus. This is his last-ditch effort, too, to see his daughter get some help. And guess what? Jesus, because he stopped to see who touched him in this crowd, when there's probably 100-some people touching him along the way, but one who drew that power, that healing power out of him, he stopped. Because he delayed, the little girl died. And people are telling Jairus, hey, don't bother Jesus anymore, she's dead. Jesus gets there, the professional mourners are already there. Jesus said, hey, she's just asleep, move aside. They laugh at him, but he goes and he raises her up. He raises her up. That is a time that he touched her. That is a time that Jairus would know, man, I've just made Jesus ritually impure at this point. But you know what? This is where that boundary breaking really comes into effect, especially when it comes to what we feel we have to do to be good little boys and girls, so to speak, to be following all the correct religious rules that we set up for going to church and putting money in the offering plate and taking our turn doing this or doing that. Sometimes all those rules get washed away in the face of grace. Yeah, they get washed away because sometimes we do things out of desperation. Sometimes we do things out of love, out of grace. Jesus is doing it out of grace. Jairus is asking for it out of desperation. Both things, hey, they come together neatly in this story, and it's a beautiful one. Now, both women are fully restored to life, restored to the community. And that's what Jesus can do for us. And that beautiful, beautiful stories. And there's so much more we can talk about with this. And I'll probably throw a few other things into the mix come Sunday during church. But read it. It's Mark, the 5th chapter, starts with verse 21 and goes to the end of the chapter. And it's an incredible story, the sandwich story of Jesus healing 2 women. Well, get outside, like I said, because it is just going to be a grand and glorious day, and who knows what awaits us tomorrow. God's blessings be with you.